Okay, diving right in. You know that feeling, right? That little knot in your stomach may be rising quickly to your chest. The one that hits when you've asked your child, calmly, perhaps even for the third time, to stop doing something they absolutely shouldn't be doing. Something potentially unsafe, like running full speed through a crowded restaurant, or something that could be broken, like reaching for that delicate figurine on a low shelf. And instead of stopping, instead of even pausing to consider your words, they just keep going. They continue the forbidden action. Maybe they even look right at you while they do it. Sometimes there's a little glint in their eye, a hint of a smile that feels, in that moment, less like innocent playfulness and more like, well, like they're actively choosing to disregard you, actively choosing to defy. It's a moment that can be incredibly triggering for us as parents. It feels like a direct challenge to our authority, a lack of respect for our rules, and sometimes, frankly, a personal affront. We ask, we set a boundary, and in return, we get a clear signal that our words aren't just unheard, but are being acted against. Stay put here, don't run around, you say, and they pick up speed. Don't touch that vase, it's fragile, and their little fingers reach out with deliberate intention. This isn't just about teaching kids to listen. This is about navigating those intense moments when they actively push against our limits. Often when the stakes feel high, safety, property. It's about understanding the complex dance between a child's developing will and our need to guide and protect them. It challenges us to respond effectively without resorting to reactions we might later regret. Reactions driven by that surge of frustration or embarrassment. Today, here on the Family Connection Hub, we're going to explore the specific tough scenario. Active behavioral defiance, when you've asked a child to stop something forbidden or dangerous. We're not here to shame anyone, parent or child. We're here to gently unpack why this might happen, and most importantly, to explore practical, compassionate ways to respond in the moment and build towards better cooperation and connection over time. It's about finding a path that honors your need for safety and respect while also honoring your child's developing humanity, even when that development looks messy and challenging. And where do we even begin when faced with that immediate, defiant act? When every fiber of your being wants to react quickly, loudly, forcefully. The very first and perhaps most crucial step happens within us. It's about pausing and managing our own powerful, instantaneous reaction. Think about it. Your child runs off in a busy place after you've told them to stop. Your brain immediately flags danger. Adrenaline spikes. Your voice might instinctively raise. Your body tenses. This is a completely natural, physiological response. It's protective. But in the context of trying to teach and connect, this triggered state in us can often escalate the situation rather than de-escalate it. Our fear or anger can look and feel overwhelming to a child, sometimes prompting them to dig in further, act out more, or simply shut down. The very energy of our reactive pursuit or angry command can, paradoxically, add fuel to their defiant fire, especially if they are feeling a need for power or attention. So the absolute foundational starting point, the hardest thing to do, but the most impactful, is learning to create a tiny pocket of space between your child's action and your response. It's the deep breath you take. It's the split second where you consciously choose not to immediately yell or grab or issue a threat. It's the internal mantra you repeat. Stay calm. I can handle this. Respond. Don't react. This isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about managing them so they don't dictate an unhelpful response. It's about regaining control of yourself first, because you are the adult, you are the guide, and you are the one with the developed prefrontal cortex, even if it doesn't feel like it in that moment. When you can access even a sliver of calm, you can think more clearly. You can respond more intentionally. And you are modeling emotional regulation, a critical skill your child desperately needs to learn, especially in moments of high energy or frustration. How does this look in practice? It might be a literal physical pause. Your child runs. Instead of instantly chasing and shouting, you stop walking for just a second, plant your feet, take a breath. Your child reaches for the vase. Instead of swatting their hand and yelling, you freeze for a beat, gather yourself. It requires practice. It requires self-compassion when you don't get it right, which will happen. It requires understanding that this internal work is just as important, if not more important, than the external strategy you eventually employ. This pause creates the possibility for a different outcome in the predictable power struggle that follows an immediate, triggered reaction. It allows you to move from a place of pure reactivity to a place where you can actually begin to choose your response. And that brings us to the next crucial piece of the puzzle. Once you've managed that initial surge of feeling, that frustration, fear, or anger, and you've created that crucial pause, you're in a much better position to actually address the situation effectively. With a clearer head, you can shift your perspective slightly. Instead of just seeing a disobedient child deliberately defying you, you can try to get curious about why this behavior is happening. This is our second key approach: getting curious, not furious. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Curious? When my child is running into danger or about to break something expensive? This isn't the time for an existential discussion, and you're absolutely right. In the immediate moment of danger or potential damage, the priority is always safety and stopping the action. But the mindset of curiosity, even in the background, informs how you set that immediate boundary and how you address it afterward. Behavior is communication, always, especially with children who don't have the words or the emotional regulation skills to articulate what's going on inside them. That defiant smile, the continued action, it's telling you something. It could be testing limits. What really happens if I keep going? Seeking attention. Negative attention is better than no attention. Feeling a lack of control. I'll assert my power here. Genuinely struggling with impulse control. It's shiny, it's fun to run. Not fully understanding the rule or the consequence, or even feeling overwhelmed or unheard in another situation. And this is how it's coming out. When you approach the situation with curiosity, rather than the immediate assumption of malice or disrespect, you open the door to understanding and ultimately more effective long-term solutions. This doesn't mean you ignore the behavior. It means that while you are addressing the behavior, you are also filing away observations and questions for later. In the moment, this curiosity might look like getting down to their eye level, if safe to do so, making eye contact, and using a calm, firm voice. It's in your tone and your body language. Less aggressive, more grounded. For example, if your child is running in the restaurant, instead of "stop running now, you are going to knock someone over." After your pause, you might get down low and say, "Hey, running is not safe inside. We need to use walking feet. What's making you feel like running right now?" The second part of that is the curiosity. It might not yield an immediate answer from a young child, but it signals that you are trying to understand, not just control. It can diffuse some of the power struggle energy. If it's the vase situation, once you've gently but firmly redirected their hand and set the boundary, you might say, "It looks like you really wanted to touch that. Tell me, what was interesting about it?" Again, maybe they can't articulate it, but the question acknowledges their interest while reinforcing the limit. This mindset of curiosity is also vital after the immediate situation is handled. When everyone is calm, that's when you might have a quiet conversation. "Remember earlier when you kept running even after I asked you to stop? Can you tell me what was happening for you? Were you feeling really excited? Was it hard to listen? Or, About Grandma's vase. I noticed you kept reaching for it. Was it just too tempting? What could we do next time to help you remember not to touch things that aren't yours? These conversations, held when the emotional temperature is low, provide incredible insight and teach the child self-awareness and problem-solving skills. They learn that you aren't just an enforcer of arbitrary rules, but a guide who cares about their experience and wants to help them manage their impulses and understand the world. So, with our own reaction managed and a curious mindset in place, we are ready to implement our third key strategy: setting firm, empathetic boundaries and following through consistently. This is where the rubber meets the road in the moment of defiance. Defiance cannot be ignored, especially when safety is involved or important rules are being broken. Children need clear, consistent boundaries to feel safe. Firmness here means that the boundary is non-negotiable regarding the core rule or safety issue. It means you are serious and consistent. Empathetic means that while you are firm on the limit, you are soft on the child's feelings about the limit. You acknowledge their potential frustration, disappointment, or energy level without letting those feelings override the necessary boundary. Let's go back to our scenarios. The child is running in the restaurant, maybe giggling defiantly. Your calm, curious approach led you to get down low. Now for the firm, empathetic boundary. Hey, my rule is we use walking feet inside. Firm rule. Running is not safe. You could fall or bump into someone. Brief, clear why. I see you have a lot of energy. Empathy acknowledgement. We need to use walking feet now. I can help you walk over to the table. Then, you might calmly take their hand and guide them. Physically enforcing the boundary is they don't immediately comply verbally. The physical guidance isn't punishment. It's follow-through on the expectation when their own control isn't sufficient. For the vase toucher, who deliberately reaches out even after you said no. Calm pause. Curious mindset. Why is this so appealing to them right now? Then the firm, empathetic boundary. Remember, my rule is we don't touch fragile things at Grandma's. Firm rule. They could break, and that would make Grandma sad. Why? I know it looks interesting. Empathy. Your hands need to stay by your side or in your pockets when we are near the vase. If they reach again, you might gently but firmly block their hand. Remove them from the immediate vicinity of the vase, or offer them something safe to touch nearby. Here's this soft blanket you can touch instead. The follow-through is redirecting their body or removing the temptation, consistently, every time. Consistency is absolutely critical here. Defiance is often a way for children to test if the boundary is real, if you mean it every time, under all circumstances. It's sometimes running is okay, and sometimes it results in a huge reaction, and sometimes in a mild request. It's confusing. Consistent, predictable responses, delivered calmly and firmly, teach the child what the actual expectation is, and that you will reliably enforce it. This predictability, while potentially frustrating for them in the moment, actually builds a sense of security in the long run. They learn where the boundaries are, and that you are a reliable guide who will maintain them. Now, setting boundaries in the moment is essential for safety and immediate compliance. But how do we reduce the likelihood of this active defiance happening in the first place? And how do we equip our children with the skills they need to manage their impulses and make better choices? This brings us to our fourth key approach: proactively teaching and practicing desired behavior. Think about it. If we only address the behavior when it goes wrong, we're constantly playing defense. We're reacting to the problem rather than building the skills to prevent it. Children, especially young ones, don't inherently know how to behave in every situation. They need to be explicitly taught, shown, and given opportunities to practice the skills we want them to use. They also need help developing impulse control, the ability to stop themselves from doing something they feel like doing in the moment. Before you go into a potentially challenging situation, like a restaurant, someone else's house with breakable items, or a public space where running is unsafe, talk about the expectations beforehand. This is pre-teaching. Okay, honey, we're going to the restaurant. Remember our rule for inside? We use walking feet. Show them. We talk in quiet voices. Show them. We sit at the table. Make it simple, clear, and positive. You can also practice the desired behavior in low-stakes environments. Practice walking feet at home. Play games that involve stopping and starting to practice impulse control, like red light, green light. Practice gentle touches with toys or different textures. Role-play scenarios. Okay, imagine this cushion is Grandma's vase. How do we look at it without touching? When you are in the situation, look for opportunities to praise and reinforce the desired behavior when you see it happening naturally. Wow, I noticed you used walking feet all the way from the car to the table. Great job remembering our rule. Thank you for keeping your hands by your side while we walked past that shelf. Specific, genuine praise is much more effective than general "good job" because it tells them exactly what behavior you liked and want to see again. For active defiance specifically, which often stems from impulse control issues or a drive for power attention, teaching self-regulation strategies can be very helpful over time. For an older child, you might talk about what their body feels like when they really want to do something they shouldn't. Do you feel buzzy, like you can't stop yourself? Then practice things like taking 3 deep breaths, counting to 10, or finding something appropriate to touch or do instead, e.g. squeezing your hands together, fidget toy. These are skills they can draw on when they feel that urge to defy or act impulsively. This proactive work is an ongoing process. It's not a one-time lesson. It's gentle reminders, consistent practice, and patient teaching, woven into the fabric of your daily life. It acknowledges that their brains are still developing the capacity for self-control, and that they need our active guidance and support to build those pathways. When children have a clearer understanding of expectations, have practiced the desired skills, and feel a sense of connection and being understood, thanks to our curiosity and empathy, they are less likely to resort to active defiance as a primary strategy. It's about equipping them to succeed, rather than just waiting for them to fail so we can correct them. Putting all these pieces together, managing our own reactivity, approaching with curiosity, setting firm yet empathetic boundaries with consistent follow-through, and proactively teaching and practicing desired behaviors, creates a powerful framework for responding to active defiance. It shifts the dynamic from a frustrating power struggle to an opportunity for guidance, learning, and connection. Stepping back now, we can see that navigating moments of active defiance isn't just about getting a child to stop doing something forbidden in the heat of the moment. It's about a much larger, ongoing project. Building a relationship based on mutual respect, clear communication, and understanding. It's about teaching our children how to navigate rules, manage their impulses, and understand the impact of their actions, not through fear or control, but through our calm, consistent, and compassionate guidance. There will be days when you feel like you've got this, and days when you feel like you're right back at square one. Days when your pause is non-existent, your curiosity is buried under a mountain of frustration, and consistency feels like an impossible dream. That is not just okay, it is absolutely normal. Parenting is messy, challenging, and requires immense patience, especially with ourselves. Remember, each of these moments, even the defiant ones, is an interaction, a chance to connect, to guide, and to learn, for both you and your child. It's about progress, not perfection. By choosing to respond with intention, by managing your own reaction, seeking to understand, setting clear limits with warmth, and putting in the work proactively, you are laying down a foundation for stronger communication, greater trust, and a deeper connection with your child. You are teaching them invaluable life skills by showing them, through your own behavior, what emotional regulation, respect, and healthy boundaries look like. You are capable of navigating these challenging waters. You are learning and growing right alongside your child. Extend yourself the same patience, understanding, and compassion that you are striving to offer them. Every attempt you make to respond more consciously, every time you take that breath or choose curiosity over fury, is a step in the right direction. If this conversation resonated with you, if it made you feel seen or gave you something helpful to think about, please consider giving this video a like. Sharing it with another parent who might be grappling with similar challenges can help spread these ideas and support. And if you want to continue exploring these topics, if you want more practical tools and empathetic support for building a stronger, more connected family, I hope you'll join our community here. Subscribe to the Family Connection Hub. We are on this journey together, learning and growing, one challenging, beautiful moment at a time. Thank you for being here.